The global electric vehicle market is heating up, and China wants to dominate.
That Tesla vehicles being sold in China right now are far more...
China has subsidies and incentives that benefit auto...
Structural problems in the way that China subsidizes its industries.
If you're looking into what Tesla have been doing in China, they got probably more than what we got from Chinese government.
Unfair industrial subsidies have dominated the U.S. understanding of how China poses a threat to its interests. But what does the economic threat actually look like? To get some answers, we went to one of the biggest export markets in China.
怎么可能说是一种威胁呢？对吧？你觉得合算，你就交易；我不合算，我也不会卖给你。
Contacted American Chinese experts.
Economic nationalism and trade protectionism is becoming the new norm in the U.S.
自己也认为自己是个超级大国，我们一个发展中国家如何能够威胁它呢？
And met leaders from the business community, and in an attempt to understand the impacts of a trade war and a bigger technology war.
But it needs to be competition on an equitable, on a fair, on an equal basis for both sides to thrive.
The United States is no longer a free trade country.
Our first stop is Yiwu in East China's Zhejiang province. The coastal province accounts for a significant portion of China's exports. We wanted to see firsthand how China's trade with the U.S. plays out on the ground.
这小玩具一般往哪些国家卖？
欧美国家。
那您对美国人印象怎么样？
就是方方面面对中国的质押干嘛的，但总体来说，我们的经济贸易还是要靠他们那边走。
你觉得中国对美国是威胁吗？
这个倒不会，因为是他们自己放弃了这个制造业的。其实，他们很多低端业，他们是必须要靠我们亚洲的国家来实现的，因为美国人人民比较贵嘛。
Every year, tens of billions of goods from Christmas decorations to the U.S. presidential campaign merchandise travel from the markets in Yiwu to the U.S. Most merchants in Yiwu find the idea of China posing a threat to the U.S. unthinkable, but the feelings seem to be different across the Pacific. In 2018, U.S. President Donald Trump launched a trade war on China.
And China wants to talk very badly. And I said, frankly, it's too early to talk because they've been ripping us for so many years.
The United States is no longer a free trade country. Launching of a trade war with China by President Trump, the putting on of the China tariffs.
Since the Trump administration, the U.S. has become more protectionist in its trade policy, in its industrial policy, and also in its technology policy.
It hasn't always been China on the U.S. government trade hit list. Way before Trump became the U.S. president in the 1980s, he was talking about how Japan steals American jobs and rip off the U.S.
We let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible.
From the start of Trump's presidency, the nationalist and globalist camps were divided over how to deal with the economic tensions with China.
You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
The nationalists finally won.
Actually, in the Trump era, there are two camps inside the Trump cabinet, the nationalist and the globalist. And I wonder if there are any camps like that in the Biden administration.
I think Biden's foreign policy is so-called the middle-class foreign policy. That will lead to what I just called economic nationalism and trade protectionism. The only people I can tell who may belong to the camp of globalist may be Treasury Yellen. I mean, she's moderate. She's not the traditional globalist. I think Yellen is more inclined towards globalization, but she's very lonely and isolated in Biden's cabinet.
A 2-hour high-speed train journey from Yiwu, and we arrive at an electric car maker in Wenzhou. The coastal city in Zhejiang is known for its entrepreneurial spirit and innovation.
So what's the most advanced feature of your car?
Obviously, autonomous driving.
When WM Motors was founded in 2015, the company received debt investment and low-interest loans worth 3 billion yuan from the local government.
The real issue is the set of problems that the Trump administration did not deal with, namely structural problems in the way that China subsidizes its industries.
But this very land we stand on is driven by the government. Is it fair for American companies?
Oh, not really. Actually, we pay for them with a discount. Actually, any company, it doesn't matter European company or American company came to here, the government would definitely give the same deal, if not better.
The U.S. has ramped up competitions on EVs, with President Biden signing the Inflation Reduction Act into law in August. The U.S. rules on EV subsidies are historic.
Yes, we got a lot of incentive from government, but the Chinese government has been very fair to everyone. As a matter of fact, if you're looking into what Tesla have been doing in China, they got probably more than what we got from Chinese government. If you're looking back to how Tesla growing up to where they are today, they got much more support from the American government, especially a department called DOE. DOE give them tons of support, including billions of dollars.
But a major issue in the United States is Chinese espionage in the United States, where we feel China has been stealing our trade secrets, our economic secrets, which are in some cases more important than our military secrets.
Technology transfer from market, that's how many observers describe how Chinese auto industry have developed. But from an American point of view, it's about Chinese companies stealing from or forcing the transfer from American companies. Do you agree?
Well, no, I'm part of that activity in the past. I work for American companies, I work for a European company, and helping them transfer technology to China legally. Actually, it is a win-win situation. First of all, so they are very happy, if somebody in China legally obtain their technology and make to the product and sell to the customer because they get returns.
In the city of Jiaxing, 200 kilometers from Yiwu, we met a group of entrepreneurs grappling with the economic ramifications of the China threat rhetoric.
我觉得威胁论的话，政治导向应该是多一些。他作为一个超级大国，他自己也认为自己是个超级大国。我们一个发展中国家如何能够威胁他呢？
其实从另一方面体现出了就是美国的霸权主义。以前可能鸦片战争啊，或者那时候就是受世界列强的另一个欺凌。现在呢，中国也需要保护自己的企业，它是中国企业背后的支撑。
吃苦耐劳是我们民族的优良传统啊，就是我们的人民生来就是这样的。
其实老百姓就是美国来讲，我们这些客户反馈，他根本不关心这些东西。
美国人为什么会把中国人当做一个威胁？
是因为我们发展了，他的本质上是不希望我们发展，他希望我们永远落后，停留在150年以前。就是中国人可能从心底里可能没有认真思考过美国到底是一个怎么样的国家。现在很多中国人都开始重新审视美国这个国家是不是像我们过去想象的这样伟大民主而真正的自由。
The United States is no longer a free trade country. Launching of a trade war with China by President Trump, the putting on of the China tariffs, the fact that President Biden has left those tariffs in place, The fact that we pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
In August, the U.S. also passed the CHIPS and Science Act, which gives $52 billion for U.S. companies over 5 years to grow their semiconductor manufacturing.
I think the purpose of the act is to discourage further investment in China in high-tech areas. And the law is intended to make it more difficult for foreign countries, not just American companies, but for foreign countries to invest in China's high technology areas.
To launch the so-called smart competition with China, and they focus on technology. And they believe that technology will determine whether the U.S. can maintain the military and economic advantage vis-a-vis China.
The Chinese companies start export technology to U.S. We always doing benchmarking. Again, when you're trying to do benchmarking for American companies, smart EV, you only got one company, Tesla. The others is just talking, showing.
After dozens of interviews, they all ended up pointing to one direction both sides share, that the challenges faced are bridgeable.
I don't think there are any unbridgeable differences between China and the United States.
Even though both sides cannot compromise on the key policy issues, but they can try to avoid unintended crises.
There is real urgency to the United States and China working to heal their bilateral relations overall and ensure that the competition between us, which is inevitable, is the kind of constructive competition that makes both sides better competitors, and not the destructive rivalry in which each side is seeking to harm and undermine the others.
We hope someday we go to California, the California government can treat us like what Shanghai government do to the Tesla.
Consumers and producers in both countries are hoping for lower tensions. With the risks of declines in trade, how can conflicts be avoided so that tensions don't escalate into something more dangerous?